They were never supposed to survive this flight. The story doesn't begin with snakes, it begins with fear, the kind of fear that sneaks up quietly in the dark of a tropical night where a single scream can disappear between the trees and never come back. A young man runs through the jungle bleeding, panic hunted. He knows he has seen something he should not have seen, something powerful and deadly. Before he can escape, a blade flashes and silence falls again. The secret is buried, but not for long, because thousands of miles away an FBI agent named Neville Flynn is already on the trail. Flynn is a man who has seen too much violence to be surprised anymore, but even he senses that this case feels wrong, heavier than usual. The only witness to the murder is a young surfer named Sean Jones, a regular guy suddenly trapped inside a nightmare he never asked for. Sean saw a crime boss commit murder, and now his life is worth less than the secret he carries. The mob doesn't miss witnesses, they erase them, and Sean knows, and Flynn knows it too, which is why the only way to keep Sean alive is to move him fast and quietly to Los Angeles to testify. The plan is simple: put him on a commercial flight, surround him with anonymity, and get him across the country before anyone can react. But evil adapts faster, and someone very powerful has already made a call that changes everything. On Flight 121, everything looks normal. Passengers bored, laughing, complaining, living ordinary lives, unaware that death is already waiting in the cargo hold. There's a newlywed couple excited about their future, a nervous first-time flyer, a rapper traveling with his bodyguard, a flight attendant trying to keep control over a chaotic cabin, and among them Sean and Flynn pretending to be just another pair of strangers. But the audience knows something is wrong, because the camera lingers too long on the cargo bay, on crates that don't belong on a passenger plane, on a hiss that almost sounds like breathing. The plane takes off, and with it any chance of escape. At 30,000 feet, the first sign appears, not a scream, not blood, just a sudden bite in the dark. A flight attendant feels a sharp pain, something cold and fast. Before she can react, venom surges through her veins, panic takes over, her body twists uncontrollably, and she collapses dead within seconds. No one understands what happened. Confusion spreads, whispers turn into fear, then another scream erupts, louder this time, as a passenger is attacked in the bathroom, trapped with nowhere to run. Blood stains the walls, and the truth finally slithers into the open. Snakes, hundreds of them, different sizes, different colors, different kinds, all deadly, all angry, all released with one purpose: kill everyone on board. Chaos explodes. The cabin transforms from a place of safety into a flying nightmare. Passengers climb over seats, crying, screaming, praying. Some try to fight, others freeze in terror. The snakes strike fast, biting ankles, hands, faces, anywhere skin is exposed. Venom works in seconds. People drop before they can even scream. Children are pulled away from parents. Friends watch friends die helpless. Flynn realizes this isn't random, this is a hit. The mob boss poisoned the entire plane, turned it into a weapon, and Flynn understands one brutal truth: if they land, everyone dies. If they stay in the air, maybe, just maybe, someone survives. Flynn takes control, barking orders, dragging terrified passengers together, trying to create safe zones, but fear makes people reckless. One wrong move, one open door, one exposed leg means death. The snakes are everywhere, inside walls, under seats, pouring out of vents like living shadows, and the worst part is they're evolving, adapting, learning. They're not just attacking randomly anymore, they're hunting. As the death toll rises, Sean begins to crack. Guilt, fear, anger, all mixed together, because this is happening because of him. Flynn tries to keep him focused, alive, but even the strongest resolve starts to shake when you're surrounded by screams and corpses at 30,000 feet. With nowhere to run, the plane itself becomes a ticking time bomb. Systems begin to fail, pilots are attacked, leaving the aircraft without control, and suddenly survival is no longer about snakes alone, it's about keeping the plane in the air. Down on the ground, authorities finally realize something is wrong, but it may already be too late. The signal from Flight 121 grows weaker. Panic fills control towers as they listen helplessly to screams over the radio. The plane is flying blind, full of venom and terror, racing toward disaster, and inside the cabin Flynn prepares for a final stand, knowing the next minutes will decide who lives and who dies, because the snakes are not finished, not even close. Inside the plane, fear reaches a breaking point. The survivors are trapped in a metal tube filled with death. Every breath feels borrowed. Every second could be the last. Flynn realizes that panic is more dangerous than venom, because one scream, one rush down the aisle means more bites, more bodies. He forces everyone to stay together. Lights off, heat lowered, trying to slow the snakes, but the creatures keep coming, crawling through wiring, bursting from ceilings, striking from blind spots like clipping knives. The cabin is now a battlefield littered with bodies and blood, electricity, even makeshift weapons, anything to push back the nightmare. Some plans work briefly, others fail horribly, and every failure costs lives. The snakes aren't just venomous, they're aggressive, enraged, confused by the altitude, driven to kill, and the more they bite, the more the chaos feeds them. In the cockpit, the pilots are gone and the plane is slowly drifting off course. Fuel is burning, systems are failing, and on the ground officials race against time, trying to guide a plane they can't control, filled with people they can barely save. The mob boss watches confidently, believing no one survives. Flight 121. No witnesses, no testimony, no consequences, but he underestimates one thing: human desperation. Flynn rallies the remaining survivors for one final move, a last gamble that could either save them all or finish them instantly. They decide to flood the cabin with gas to force the snakes into the cargo hold, then seal them inside. It's insane, it's dangerous, and it's the only option left. The plan unfolds under unbearable tension. Gas leaks into the cabin, snakes thrash wildly, striking faster than ever. People hold their breath, dragging injured bodies, closing doors with shaking hands. One man sacrifices himself, holding a door shut as snakes pile over him, buying the others precious seconds. His screams echo long after the door seals. Finally, silence falls, broken only by coughing, sobbing, and the distant sound of snakes trapped below. But survival isn't victory yet. The plane is still damaged, still flying without proper control, still seconds from disaster. With emergency landing the only chance, Flynn and the survivors fight to keep the aircraft steady as alarms blare and the runway approaches too fast. Landing as brutal, metal screams, sparks fly, passengers are thrown forward, but against all odds the plane slams down, skids, and finally stops. Survivors collapse, crying, laughing, screaming, alive against every expectation. Flight 121 didn't become a mass grave, it became proof. In the aftermath, Sean stands alive, shaken but determined. He will testify. The mob boss is exposed, arrested, stripped of his power. The deaths finally mean something. Flynn walks away scarred but unbroken, knowing he did his job, knowing that sometimes survival isn't clean or heroic, it's bloody, terrifying, and earned one breath at a time. And as authorities open the cargo hold, one last hiss escapes, reminding everyone how close they came, how thin the line was between life and death, because on that flight survival wasn't guaranteed. It was fought for, clawed for, bitten for, and barely won.